You're listening to another episode of From the Dust with Sarah Decker, a place to explore spiritual experiences and topics. And no, we are never alone.
So I was having a conversation the other day with a couple of people, mostly new acquaintances, people I haven't really talked to before. And we were discussing the Nemenhah record. And in that record, there is some parts that talk about these days, like prophets that testify. Actually, it was one of the three Nephites who was testifying of our day and talking about the things that happened, but not just 2024. That's not really what I mean. Of just these latter days. It even talked about Christopher Columbus landing in America, just referred to him as a man who would come to America and would bring a great evil, and that the Native Americans would be kind of run out of their land and become what was the words that were used? A remnant. But that the remnant was meant to help teach the people of God that would come forward later. So, in Joseph Smith's time, we've got the Book of Mormon. We're the Gentiles, right? Like Joseph Smith and his family, he's the Gentiles. Technically, the Native Americans were the descendants of Israel, the children of Israel. So, so in that record, it says that the remnant were meant to help teach the people how to let go of their lust for gain and to become more one with the earth and stop using the earth for gain and to respect it. And not just that, but like just shifting our reality of mind, of our culture today, and helping embrace a higher culture, a higher understanding of how we could live in the earth, right? On the earth, and how we could live to be less worldly minded. Anyway, so it's really interesting because in any who are LDS kind of background, we know Joseph Smith, he translated the Book of Mormon. I have family who were sent to the Native Americans to tell them about the Book of Mormon and to share the Book of Mormon with them. And it's interesting because I don't have a lot of details about that. I just know that, one of my grandmas was born on Indian territory and he was adopted into a tribe. I don't even know the details, right? And so, but I do know that he went and tried to share the gospel with the Native Americans, right? And it's interesting because there is a section in Doctrine and Covenants that says that the people were under condemnation because they couldn't live the law of consecration. Law of consecration, just for those who maybe don't understand, it is this idea that there's no poor among you, so we don't hold on to things that we don't really need because of selfishness. And we give freely to those who are in need so that they are not without, right? No poor among you kind of thing. And it's just this idea that we don't just live for gain. And so, and actually the law of consecration isn't actually taught to not live for gain. That's not the way we're taught the law of consecration as Mormons, right? So the law of consecration is more like all things are common, like people have tried to live it so many different ways where I do have a cold. I apologize if I sound really odd today. So people have tried to live it many different ways. You've seen where people all live on one big piece of land and everyone owns the things there. They all try to work together and it's very selfless, but then you hear stories of, where people start taking things from other people over the years and saying it's theirs because everything is everyone's, but that's not very kind, respectful, anything like that. So, and then there's a lot of different ways people try to do it where they pull together all their financial resources and, but then who makes the decisions about that? You hear stories of people like paying to join a community, but then the community has expectations that they never disclosed prior. that then you have to leave if you don't fulfill those expectations. So then you bought land, you built a house, or done one of these things, and then they can just kick you out. Anyways, just lots of really stressful things that happened as people have tried to pursue this idea, um, but not understanding how the heck are we supposed to do this, right? What are we supposed to be doing? And I've kind of wondered, when I think of the millennium and Zion, I think of there being no poor among us, and us having stopping the rat race, like the everyday pursuit of just finances to survive. Like, how can we extricate ourselves from these kind of patterns that are really not for our greatest good? If we're always at work, then what kind of life do we lead? Do we have relationships with people that are important to us? Do we have true connection to our children? What is it that we have, or what is it that we've lost because of that, right? And so, anyways, so when I read the Nemenhah record, the Ayat Nemenhah, it is a translated Native American record that was translated by a council. There's only one member of that council still living, Philip Cloudfiler. And, excuse me, there's so much in this record. It's like, I don't know how many pages, 600 or more. And so, and it spans, I don't know, 1,000 years maybe, but don't quote me on that. Come on. So someone out there knows their numbers way better than me. But in that record, these people trying to leave society where there was what they called Gadiat robbers, people who were trying to gain power, who were murdering people, who were trying to get political power. So they were murdering people on judgment seats. They were coming together behind the scenes and having plots, and there's lots of wickedness and just evil things going on, murder and intrigue, and the game, the political power game. And so there was a lot of just wars and people dying, and it was a difficult time. So there was a group of people that left, and it was really interesting because they had a desire to do things differently so that they don't have the same outcome. But specifically, they wanted to live a way that didn't appeal to those Gadiat robbers that wanted money. They wanted to be wealthy. They wanted to have power, and so they desired to live a way that wouldn't allow that kind of people in, that it wouldn't work. They wouldn't be able to get game with them. They wouldn't be able to be powerful and have power and all of that stuff. And so they created a whole different type of society. And it's interesting because they did it once, and then the Gadiant robbers still showed up. And so they shifted a little bit, and they moved. They picked up their people and moved again, and did it a little bit differently again. And then they were able to maintain a society where there was not poor among them, and where they were able to take care of people that were traveling through, or who were suddenly widowed, or had things happen in their family that they needed help, and they were able to help people and to live and be comfortable. And it's just an interesting thing. It really changes and shifts. I know it totally helped shift my idea about culture, and that we don't actually have to live the way that we live, that there is another way. And it's a beautiful representation of another way. And it is so interesting because in the Nemenhah record, it says that the people would come, and they would think that they had something to teach the Native Americans or the remnant, but that actually the remnant was meant to teach them. They were to teach them how to stop, lusting after gain and other things. And so it's really interesting to me because you think at Joseph Smith's time, there was the Native Americans were there, right? He was told by God to send preachers out to the Native Americans, and then they're striving to live this law of consecration. And so, in our pride and ego, sometimes like we think we have so much to give, and that's our part. Like, oh, God gave this man the Book of Mormon. He translated it, and so obviously he's the leader. We follow him. Everyone else must toe to him, right? Like, just get in line and follow them. But it's interesting because in the Nemenhah record it says that that's really not that the Gentiles are meant to help the remnant reach the world and help change the world, to get their voice out, kind of. Like, I don't remember exactly the wording, but that's kind of what I took from it. And there's so many different records that I've read. I know everyone's have different experiences with different ones, but specifically the ones I can think of are the Chronicles of the Children of Aramaic and the Book of Nations. And both of those have experiences where a people are told to go join with another people. And in that joining, they're able to share knowledge, share the things that God has taught them. So in the Chronicles of the Children of Aramaic, these men are sent north to this community, and they're told to bring that they're going to join, and that they're going to bring to them knowledge that they don't have. And it's not what they expected. I don't know what they really expected, but when they got up north, they found out that women were leaders and had priesthood, and it was something they'd never really considered. And then they bring that down south, and they share with their prophet what they learned from the people north, and he just accepts it. He accepts it, and they integrate, right? And because they have different things to share with each other. It's like this mutual respect shown and integration for what God has given to his people. And that's actually one of the beautiful things that I was taught when I first moved here to Missouri. Was I was shown how different religious groups are all part of this body of Christ, and how they all have a role to play. Because, if things really get difficult culturally, like our system of life here in the United States, where we have trucking and grocery stores and all this different stuff that kind of sustain our lives, this life of ease that we have, we won't know how to function. And that there's people who have lived, they've been like set apart from the world and have lived this simpler life where they don't use these like power tools and more modern conveniences and electricity and whatever. And that they can teach us something great, right? They're going to be the ones that hopefully they'll be willing to share their knowledge and help us pick up the pieces of our ruined, tattered lives, right? And so he showed me that they were there for a purpose, and that he, in his wisdom and mercy, had provided provision to help people, to help us overcome these struggles, that there's people that can help us overcome them. And so that's kind of how I feel like this Nemenhah record has a part to play in that. It totally shifted my mind about a bunch of different topics that we don't really talk about. And that's the thing is, like, we only know the answers to the questions we ask. And so different people throughout time have asked different questions. And that's true for different religious organizations. Some focus on different topics more than others. And so they may have truth that another organization has never even thought to ask. Their leaders have never thought to ask, and it's not just like broadly taught. And so I just think it's really beautiful. And but I do see how possibly the early Native Americans during Joseph Smith's time could have taught the Mormons at that time, like showed them how this is how we live. Can we teach you? Can we teach you how to let go of the world and to live with no poor among you in that way, where we're helping each other out, and it's not about being the richest person or having the most things. And it's interesting because I feel like that is happening again with this record coming forth. What can it teach us? And are we willing to see things differently? and to broaden our understanding of what society is, because society has been different all through time. And is there a better way than what we're doing? I really think there is. So if this has been interesting or it has intrigued you at all, I believe the website is just nemenhah.org. Let me find my book and I can try to verify that. But you can get a physical copy. I don't remember if there's a digital download on this website. There is an organization, the Nemenhah people now. I have read the whole thing, and it is very interesting and lovely, and so full of what I would call light, and goodness, and truth, and the spirit as I read. So I really hope you'll enjoy that. I do not have it written down here, but I believe it's just nemenhah.org, which is let me just get my book out. I have a cover on it so that I don't damage it here. Big book. Actually, isn't very helpful because I actually took the paper cover off of it. But it's the Ayat Nemenhah. Nemenhah is spelled Nemenhah. Second edition by Philip Landis. It just says Landis. I don't see my paper cover to this book right here. But yeah, it's a large book. Don't get too intimidated. I think there's so much to learn even in just the first few pages. I wanted to see if there was any information that would be helpful here at the back. I don't see the website on there, but anyways, it is. Yeah, as soon as I say I can't find it. It's nemenhah.org. I was right. So nemenhah.org. So enjoy. I hope you really enjoy it, and I hope that we can, as a people, do better this time at supporting those who may better understand the way that we accomplish the Zion people, the way that we change our hearts to become a people more prepared to love each other and to accept our Savior, our Messiah, because I think there's a reason. I know a lot of people are really afraid of the breakdown of society, and there are things that obviously still concern me about it, as I have 7 children. Of course I'm concerned about them. I love them. But I also really look forward to the potential beauty of living through another way. Seeing the world, living life without this, living life without this oppressive reality that we have to just go to work, that we can't really truly live our lives and pursue those things that would benefit us all more than just working all the time. Anyways, may we have more time to study, may we have more time to grow good food, spend time in nature, spend time with those we love, and read the things that we have left on our shelves and we haven't had time to read, and connect more deeply with our Savior, our Messiah, our Jehovah, Yeshua. He is good. And really, that's the greatest work. So, God bless you.
Thank you for being here, and don't forget to subscribe. God bless.